Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Alison, and in this video we're going to be looking at several vitamins that can actually help with your eczema and how deficiencies can also make your eczema worse. Remember to like, subscribe, share and comment and hit that notification so you know when the next video is coming out. And if you haven't done so already, look below in the description and you will see those free guides that are completely free to you. You've got eczema more than skin deep, dry skin more than skin deep and adult acne more than skin deep. Let's get started. Now, as well as understanding that eczema can be caused by specific triggers like your environment, your skincare and your food, eczema can also be triggered by a lack or deficiency in the vitamins in your body. Now, I'm going to first look at vitamin A. So when I was looking at or doing research for vitamin A, I came across one specific supplement that you could take. However, there were too many side effects with this particular supplement, and it was actually a medication that was going through the process with the FDA. Because there were so many side effects with that vitamin A actual medication, it was a no-no. So it looks like you're going to have to purely get vitamin A from your food sources. Now, a deficiency in vitamin A can, number one, cause dry skin, and number two, can definitely contribute towards your eczema. So you should be looking at things like cod liver oil if you eat fish, eggs, again, if you are not vegan, orange and yellow vegetables and also fruits. Other sources of beta carotene, which is what specifically is in those fruits, are broccoli, spinach, and pretty much most dark green vegetables. Now, a study was done with this particular vitamin A medication that was possibly going to come onto the market, but it is no longer at the moment. And it was done with people who were suffering with eczema, and it's actually called I'll get this out eventually. Aliteretinone, there we go. Bit of a mouthful when you're not used to saying that. It did reduce the eczema on a person's body, but there were so many complications with it that it was decided that it was just no good, and therefore food sources were the best option for vitamin A. So if you do believe you have a vitamin A deficiency, first of all you can get a blood test, and then you can start looking at the foods you are eating. That then leads us on to vitamin D, and vitamin D comes in two forms. You've got vitamin D3, which is known as a sunshine vitamin, and vitamin D2, which you get from food sources. Now, the problem with vitamin D is if you live in the UK, trying to get enough vitamin D from the sun can be quite difficult, especially in the winter months. It's also noted that people who have dark skin, so Black, Caribbean, African, Indian, they tend to absorb vitamin D from the sun at a much slower rate. So getting vitamin D from the sun can be quite a lot harder. So therefore you need to do some supplementation. Now, other factors that can also affect whether you absorb enough vitamin D from the sun is your age. Anybody over the age of 60, 65 tends to have problems absorbing enough vitamin D3 from the sun as well. Now, you might notice if you've ever been on holiday to somewhere hot during winter that your eczema does often clear up despite the fact that you're going in and out of a chlorinated pool. I know for my son, I used to always take his eczema medications with me prior to going natural, but I would also notice that he never needed to use them on holiday unless he'd eaten something that would trigger his eczema. We used natural sunscreen, so the sunscreens didn't trigger his eczema, but one thing I did notice was how good his skin tended to look when we'd been on holiday. That's because of the amount of vitamin D he was getting from the sun itself. Now, there is a condition called winter-related atopic dermatitis, and again, that tends to worsen in children simply because there isn't enough sun for children to get their vitamin D3 from there, which is why you then need to supplement. And it's actually, it's approximated that pretty much over 90% of people in the UK do have vitamin D deficiency. Now, because vitamin D3 from the sun is such a good actual source of vitamin D for the skin and also for eczema, UV actual lights can sometimes be used as a treatment for people with eczema. Now, I might have got it slightly out, but I'm pretty sure that when you do have eczema, as well as using vitamin D3 from the sun, using vitamin D2 from food sources and possibly supplementing with vitamin D3, when you supplement with vitamin D, you're supplementing with vitamin D3, which is better than D2. And it's just another version of the D3 from the sun. So as well as older people and those with darker skin tones and children being the most vulnerable when it comes to having a vitamin D deficiency, you can also have a deficiency if you have problems with your body, specifically illnesses such as Crohn's, such as ulcerative colitis, celiac disease, cystic fibrosis and liver disease also. You can put you at risk of a vitamin D deficiency simply because your intestines aren't absorbing enough vitamin D through any sort of food or supplementation. Now, I myself have always had a vitamin D deficiency for the last 20 odd years, and this is because I had part of my large intestines removed, and it was only a few years ago that I did realise that because my body doesn't absorb vitamins specifically enough through food, I'm not getting enough from the sun, also having a darker skin tone, I actually have to take quite a high level of vitamin D. That does explain why for so many years, one of the reasons I might have been getting eczema is because of my lack of vitamin D in my body and other vitamins as well. Now, before I leave vitamin D and how to not become deficient in it, I'm just going to also mention that women who breastfeed their babies, because there is so little vitamin D in breast milk, a baby can become vitamin D deficient as well. So it's worth speaking to your doctor, because there's something you can do you can actually get drops which you can give to the baby. But also on top of that, if you are taking laxatives, steroids or medication for seizures and weight loss, that can also contribute towards having a vitamin D deficiency through malabsorption through your intestines. And in fact, there is one more thing I wanted to say about vitamin D. You can't get too much vitamin D from the sun, that's impossible. However, you can get too much vitamin D from your supplementation. That's called vitamin D toxicity. So again, be wary of how much vitamin D you are taking in. Speak to your doctor first, and they could recommend how much vitamin D you should be supplementing yourself or your children with. So before we move on, just to point out that vitamin D2, the other source of vitamin D, comes from food. Now specifically, you've got things like mushrooms, egg yolks, and specifically those chickens that are raised outdoors as opposed to indoors, and barn-raised chickens or caged chickens, oily fish, which is fatty fish, and also seafood. You're looking at tuna, mackerel, oysters, shrimp, sardines, anchovies, and again, like I said before, your supplementation. Now I'm going to look at B vitamins. Now I'm saying B vitamins because there's 8 specific vitamins that make up the B vitamin complex. They all contribute in some way or form to your skin health. You can also get them from food and as a supplement. Now for my children and I, because we had a blood test and were found to be deficient in some of the B vitamins and specifically B12, I decided to get B vitamin complex in a liquid form, which we take either every day or every other day. Now, a deficiency in any of the B vitamins can cause dry skin, dry, cracked lips, wrinkles, hyperpigmentation, inflammation in the skin. The list is endless. It also means you've got less antioxidants going through your body if you also end up having a deficiency. The supply of antioxidants to the body ends up fighting the free radicals, which are caused by the sun's rays and also caused by pollution. Now, as well as getting it in a supplement form, you can get it from sunflowers, sunflower seeds, which you can obviously eat, whole grain grains, mussels are a good source, legumes, so you're looking at lentils and things like that, you're looking at peas, beans, all these other different things, nuts, cashews, pistachios, almonds, all these different things, they have those B vitamins in there in some way or form. The other food types you can get B vitamins from are seaweed, peas, fish, chicken, eggs, onions, tomatoes, broccoli, avocado, sweet potato, asparagus, and okra, one of my favorites. So you can pretty much get B vitamins from most vegetables and also animal products. However, the issue then is going to be whether your body is absorbing it or not, which is why you can end up having supplementation as well. So now we're going to discuss zinc. Zinc is important overall for the body as well, for fighting infection, producing cells, healing injury, creating DNA. So it makes sense why you obviously need it for your body, but also when it comes to your skin, a lack of zinc or deficiency can cause rashes on the body. Even if it's not atopic dermatitis or eczema, it's rashes full stop that can even look like eczema. You can also end up with open sores on the skin and wounds that won't heal. So if you're not getting enough zinc through food alone, you again will need to look about taking a natural supplement. Now, as well as causing rashes if you have a deficiency in zinc, because zinc actually helps with inflammation, you can also end up having skin that is inflamed if you don't have enough zinc in your body. And believe it or not, zinc is also really good at reducing the secretion of histamines, which are created naturally by the body itself. So if you take enough zinc and you're not deficient, it can reduce the actual itch caused by eczema. This makes sense, therefore, why calamine is something that calamine lotion is something you would use for an itch as well, because calamine has zinc, it naturally occurs in there. So if you're using calamine lotion on itchy skin, it's going to calm it down as well. Now the body doesn't and can't store zinc, so you need to be getting this from food sources on a daily basis or as a supplement. So red meat, good quality red meat obviously, poultry, and again, if you're going to go for poultry, make sure it's from free range, organically fed, or just chickens that get out and about, not battery chickens, the caged chickens. Shellfish is a good source. You've got oysters, crab, mussels, prawns and shrimp. We're looking at seeds as well, like pumpkin, sesame, squash, hemp seeds and flax seeds, which you can have quite easily soaked or ground. Nuts in the snack form, like salted nuts or completely raw nuts, the ones you don't have salt or roasted. Cashews, almonds, peanuts and pine. Now you can get it from dairy, but this is where you've got to be careful, because obviously some people with eczema do react to dairy, and myself and my son do. But if you don't react to dairy, then try and get your grass-fed milk, your pasture-raised, from pasture-raised cows, free range, even raw milk as well. And again, you can get it from eggs. So look to be getting eggs that are, again, free range chickens, or chickens that are not raised in a barn or in cages. Now there's about 4 more I can think of. I'm going to save the best till last. You can get zinc from vegetables. The only ones that is not a very good source is potatoes. However, you can get it from wild rice. I do like wild rice. Whole grain, so quinoa, oats, normal rice. But again, make sure if you're okay with gluten, you're having whole grain, just make sure you go for the good quality stuff. I mean, even something like spelt flour. And then lastly, say the best till last, you can get zinc from chocolate as well. But make sure you're looking for the chocolate with a high content, maybe 70 to 80% or more of pure cocoa. Now, whenever I think of zinc, I always think of magnesium. I always buy the two together, so it stands to reason. So just like zinc, which leads to dryness and cracks, magnesium can also do the same. It can lead to dry and cracked skin, and it can also lead to wrinkles, because if you are lacking or deficient in magnesium, you are lacking in fatty acids, which your skin loves and needs. If you don't have enough fatty acids in your skin, you're damaging your skin's elasticity, and therefore the moisture is reduced. So it's definitely worth putting time into getting a good quality magnesium supplement if you're not getting enough from your food supply. Now, just like vitamin D, it's estimated that a massive percent of the population are deficient in magnesium, and I believe it's around 70 to 80%. So I would say it's really, really important to get this one, because just like some of the other ones, it does have antioxidant abilities, which means it can help clean up those free radicals which are caused by the sun, also like pollution. So like I said before, take your magnesium very, very seriously, especially if not just eczema, you're also concerned about wrinkles on your skin as well. And in fact, one last thing that I will point out for those who suffer with eczema or acne as well is that magnesium actually regulates cellular regeneration and helps the recovery of the skin when it's been disturbed by the eczema or acne. In other words, once you've had the actual issues with your skin, the magnesium can actually help. Now, I will mention that you can take too much magnesium, but before I say that, well, before I get onto it in more detail, just to say that magnesium helps with inflammation in the body, which is why it's going to help those with eczema. Because if you reduce the inflammation in your body, you're going to reduce the inflammation on your skin. However, like I just mentioned, magnesium can cause, if you take too much, stomach issues and pain, and it can also probably cause a little bit of diarrhea if you have way too much. So if you don't want to get it just from a supplement form, you can get it from spinach, almonds, peanuts, pumpkin seeds and cashews. We tend to take ours at night because it also does help with sleep. Now, the reason for this, because I had no idea why, is it helps to activate the part of the nervous system called the parasympathetic nervous system. And it calms and relaxes you, which means it helps to stop you itching so much. So you therefore get a deeper sleep, which means you're not itching yourself as much. So if you do take magnesium as a supplement, first of all, don't take too much, but also take it in the evening just before bedtime. It will make a big difference to the way you're sleeping. Lastly, we're going to look at omega-3, and it's in the form of fish oils. Now, you can get a vegan variety of omega-3, which comes from the actual plankton itself. But for this video, we're going to look at fish oils, and that will come in the form of actual cod liver oil or fish oil from the skin itself, and also krill oil. Now, the differences are that when you're looking at fish oils from the fish itself, it's estimated about 95% of actual fish oil supplements are from rancid fish, which means then the actual manufacturers have to then put the artificial or the synthetic fish oils, omega-3, into it. This is because when the fish is actually caught, by the time it gets back to where it needs to go to the processing plant, the fish has become rancid, which kind of depletes the fish of what the actual the goodness from the fish itself. The only fish oil I've come across in capsule form or liquid form where the fish is frozen at the actual site of where it's caught is Alaskan fish oil. So that's one of the better ones, Alaskan fish oils. As an alternative, my family and I have krill oil. And the good thing about krill oil is, number one, it's absorbed better by the body and a lot quicker. But number two, because actual krill is so small and comes from the Antarctic, there's less chance of it actually having pollutants in there, because obviously the larger the fish, the more pollutants it's going to have in there because we polluted our sea. Now, like I said before, you can also get a vegan variety, but the body has to then actually change the omega-3 and convert it into what the body can use it for. Now, the reason we are taking fish oils again is to cause an anti-inflammatory reaction to the body. And lack of fish oils can cause, lack of omega-3 can cause a lot of dryness in the skin, so it's definitely worth taking that. But if you are taking supplements and are eating fish, aim for no more than 2 pieces per week, simply because the larger fish, as I said before, can have contaminants in there because of how we're treating the ocean. And also, if you are eating fish down from the sea, make sure you go for the smaller pieces of fish like sardines or salmon or anchovies. So all of the smaller fish specifically, because the larger the fish, the higher the risk of having contaminants in them. So I'm just going to end the video by saying I purposely haven't mentioned probiotics and prebiotics because I have mentioned them in a previous video. So have a look for that one. I'll stick it on the screen up just there. All that leaves me now to say is say thank you for listening, and before you go, make sure you hit subscribe, like, comment and share, and also hit the notification so you know when the next video is coming out. And don't forget those free guides underneath the description. Bye for now.